Hello, I want to talk today about Shabbat. Shabbat is an island on time. Hashem says that He created the world in 6 days, and on the 7th day He asked us to rest because He rested. So it's weird to believe that Hashem needed to rest. He so tired, it was so difficult to create the world. He created with speech. He just had to say the words, and the world was created. And if He was so tired, why no better? Go to Cayman Islands, go to Bahamas, go to a spa, have a massage. So to rest, what is it? What is Hashem telling us? What do we need to learn? How do we respect Shabbat? How do we rest on Shabbat? How do we emulate our Creator? So to better understand, we have to look into the Torah. There are 3 times that Hashem tells us to keep the Shabbat. One was at Marah, the water of Marah. The other one was the giving of the 10 Commandments. And the other one in the parasha of this week, in Vayakhel, which is immediately after Yom Kippur, that Hashem tells us to build the Mishkan. And after building the Mishkan, He said, but wait a second, don't build the Mishkan in Shabbat, keep my Shabbat. So what is the message of these 3 different times? In Marah, He says that the water was bitter, and He asked Moshe, throw a piece of wood into the water so that the waters will become sweet. That doesn't make sense. Wood is going to make water more bitter, not more sweet. If you want water to be sweet, put some sugar, put some honey, but to put a piece of wood doesn't make sense. So what Hashem was telling them is, look, the one who created the world is me. If I want the water to be bitter, it will be bitter. If I want the water to be sweet, it will be sweet. Throw a piece of wood, it will become sweet. So He was showing a miraculous God doing with creation whatever He wanted. Then you have the giving of the 10 Commandments. The giving of the 10 Commandments, the lujos were the creation of God. It says that you could read them from both sides exactly the same, and some of the letters in the first tablets, you could see that they were like standing in the air. It was miraculous, because Hashem is the one who creates the world. He tells the world how to behave in any way that He wants. And now Hashem says, build me a dwelling place, a place where I'm going to be able to show my countenance, my presence. So build the Mishkan. But He said, but wait a second. Build the Mishkan only until the 7th day. The 7th day rest, because it's Shabbat. And Shabbat is more important than creation. Why? So we need to understand this. So we need to understand what is the purpose of Shabbat, and why Shabbat is important in creation. So the reason that the sages teach us is because when you create, when you work so hard at something, at some point you need to stop and look back and see what you achieve. So Shabbat is the moment that Hashem finished creation, and the moment that you finish something, you stop and you look back and says, wow, I did it, I achieved it. I was able to do what I wanted. I achieved the goal. I achieved the purpose that I put into creation. So Shabbat is so important because it's a moment of contemplation. So it allows us, when we contemplate not only on creation, but on the Creator, because in creation we see the Creator, we're able to arouse within ourselves love and fear of Hashem. So increases our faith, increases our connection, increases our ability, our awareness that God created the world, and that is a moment of celebration, that is a moment of accomplishment. So we need to understand what is creation, because it not only says that God created the world, it has that Hashem creates the world. Because the way that the world is created is by the 10 utterances. Hashem says with His speech, whatever that means, because we cannot understand, but it's the way that the Torah transmits to us so that we can understand in a language that our brains can figure out what's going on. Is Hashem's speech creates the world. So when Hashem says, let there be light, let there be luminaries, at that moment, they are created. So, what happens in Shabbat? Because it explains in Kabbalah that if Hashem would stop for a single instant to say these words, the world would revert to the point that it didn't exist, like it never existed ever. So it says also, it says, forever, O God, your word stands firm in the heavens. That means that if these words are not always in the heavens, the world ceases to exist. So what happens in Shabbat? If Hashem stops creating, if he stops saying these words, the world will revert to nothingness. This is a very serious thought. So what we need to understand is that Shabbat is essential to creation because it is a different way of creation of Hashem. So Hashem, if we want to understand in the way, in our language, there are thoughts and there is a speech. First we need to think, then we need to articulate, we need to say the words. When Hashem says the words are, it's a connection, it's the way that Hashem relates with creation by speaking the words that are in his thoughts into the outside. And that creates. So in Shabbat, Hashem doesn't have speech. Hashem ceases to speak, so he ceases to create. And to maintain creation, he only uses his thoughts. So the way that Hashem creates during the week is in thought, is in speech, and in Shabbat is in thought. So there's two ways. And to better understand, one is an extroverted way, and the other one is an introverted way. So you have a person that is always talking and connecting with everybody, and then you see this person that is quiet, that is thoughtful. So they're both people, they are both doing something, but they're doing it in a different way. One is connecting to the outside, and the other one is just contemplated on what the person is doing. So to be able to understand the mood that we need to have on Shabbat, we need to think of an important celebration. You know, when you have a birth of a son, or when you are marrying a son, or you have a special celebration, you achieve something amazing in business, or in studies, or in relationships, or in whatever that you put a lot of effort to do. You know, somebody comes to tell you something about the business or about somebody else, but hey, you tell them, leave me alone. You don't have time for those things. You are in such a high that you cannot contemplate anything outside of the feeling that you're having. So that is what is Shabbat. Shabbat is a moment where Hashem stops creating and contemplates on what he was able to achieve during the week. When he does that, any thought of stupidity, any thought that is foreign to that celebration doesn't have a space in his mind. The same way when we emulate Hashem on Shabbat, which is our goal, we not only contemplate on the creation, we contemplate on the Creator, on the amazing God that was able to create this world. For what? For the Jew to be able to do Torah and mitzvot. So by us doing this, we generate within ourselves, we arouse within ourselves love and fear of Hashem, and increases our faith. So now you know how to feel in Shabbat. Shabbat is a moment of contemplation of the week, and this contemplation of the week allows you to renew yourself, allows Hashem to renew the thought of creation so that he can go into another week maintaining creation, enhancing creation, taking creation to another level, and so does you. I hope you have a beautiful Shabbos, a beautiful week, and live a little higher.